And just like that, the special session at our Roundhouse is underway today. Unlike the last time we were there for a special session, which basically gavelled in and then almost immediately gavelled out, lawmakers are working today. Griffin Rushton and Morgan Stevens are working as well. They're at our Roundhouse this evening. Griffin, lawmakers only have a few bills to get through, but I mean, they're not small bills.
No, they are not, Tessa. Democratic leaders only brought 5 bills to the Roundhouse today, and that's really all they have time to get through, or at least how much time they're making to get through. Legislative leaders say they are only focusing right now on the most urgent federal funding cuts that are now looming over New Mexico because of President Trump's big, beautiful bill. And that boils down into 3 big categories: food assistance programs, public broadcasting, and health care access and affordability. All things Democratic leaders say are in jeopardy right now.
The issues we are dealing with in this special session are urgent. They are happening right now, and we are laser focused on limiting and minimizing the impact on our people.
Legislative analysts say those federal funding cuts to food assistance programs and public broadcasting go into effect today. So Democratic leaders are looking to invest state dollars to keep them running. $32 million to maintain SNAP benefits and bolster food banks, and another $6 million for public broadcasting, and that does include money specifically for tribal stations. As for health care, legislative leaders are focused both on preventing clinics from closing and making sure health insurance stays affordable for New Mexicans. Now, that includes proposals to expand the Rural Health Care Delivery Fund to areas above the current population limits, while also investing another $50 million into that program. Democratic leaders are also proposing another $17 million into the state's health insurance program, otherwise known as Be Well New Mexico, and they're also proposing to expand the eligibility requirements for that before federal tax credits expire in January.
Republicans in D.C. intentionally let affordable tax credits expire. These are tax credits which brought health insurance into reach for working families, often for the first time.
In Albuquerque to make competency decisions.
Now, altogether, legislative leaders say they're looking at around $180 million total dollars in state money that they're working to use to fill these federal funding gaps. And we'll see if that number changes as this special session goes on. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers brought their own bills to the Roundhouse today, mostly dealing with juvenile crime, child welfare, and medical malpractice issues, all issues they believe should be on the special session agenda. And they made sure that they made it clear that they don't believe all the other issues we just told you about warrant a special session.
This special session just isn't that special, Mr. President. And certainly I believe it's wildly premature. We're going to address some issues here based on the possibility that something might happen that's not happening, on the idea that something is going to get cut.
Now, we can tell you lawmakers are moving quick on these bills. All 5 of those bills are sitting at the halfway point or pretty close to it after just a few hours here in the Roundhouse. And that does include another bill that is dealing with our state's vaccine guidelines. Morgan Stevens has more on that.
Right, Griffin. This special session's Senate Bill 3 intends to give the rules for vaccines over to New Mexico's Department of Health. Now, this comes on the heels of what the Democratic delegation says has been a political weaponization of the HHS. Now, what is this bill? Let's go through it. So, what we know about it so far is it was introduced by State Senator Linda Lopez of Bernalillo. The rule change will yield all expertise to New Mexico's Department of Health or the American Academy of Pediatrics on vaccination. It'll influence recommendations and rules for children attending school. This is a change from what the Senate relied on before, which was federal guidance from the FDA and the CDC. The new bill applies to rulemaking on the frequency of vaccines and which ones are required for children to attend school.
We are working on a bill to ensure that our children and really our seniors are able to access vaccines. Sounds like a silly issue to tackle, but unfortunately the federal government has weaponized the Health and Human Services Department to the point where we cannot trust it, that it will continue to provide guidance that will ensure that our kids have access to things like polio or measles vaccines.
I have grandchildren now, 13 of them, and their parents are actually parenting and saying, there is no way on this God's green earth that I'm going to give 46 vaccines before the age of 3, is what it was in another state. They're making choices for their children and they're parenting. So leave it up to the parents.
The bill passed 6-3 out of the Health and Public Services Committee, and that means it's about that halfway point right now. So they'll likely have a vote on the Senate floor tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Back to you guys.
Morgan and Griffin, thanks so much for updating us on what's gone down so far. Of course, we're not done yet. We're going to be back with you here at 6 when we take you to the Roundhouse, where we will talk more about what else is on lawmakers' to-do list for this special session, plus what some of them are saying about the impact here in our state of the recent federal government shutdown. Don't forget, you can always stay up to date on what's happening at the special session in between our newscasts at KOB.com.